That's what's up, ladies and gents. Yep. We're back again. And at least I'm here with my entire team. It's going to be beautiful. Let's welcome, first of all, it is Ladies' Month, Women's Month, Month of Africa. So, first of all, we welcome the First Lady in the building. That's what's up. And of course, nomnyumjito phakamileyo lawine naye decided to grace us with his presence finally. You know what I'm saying, Toto?
I'm back, guys. Yeah. Developing from routine, guys. Yeah.
Awuzi nawe nokuza nawo akho manzi olwandle akho manzi olwandle akukho mqombothi
Ndiwashiya njani amanzi olwandle ngeke ndine-5 litre
hayi ke sawujikela
uze ndikuphokozele.
sawujikela. Guys, good evening and welcome to it. It is season 2, episode 7. Wala 7.
Wow,
Yeah. Episode 7.
Yeah.
I guess it's what you were saying, Toto Ndobana, like Lonyaka is.
I feel like somebody just hit fast forward once South Africa go June, guys, because of July was just like,
Right.
I felt like with July was because there was a lot going on. It was just like we were just on autopilot, and then now we're in August. And
I'm glad someone feels like that, Torto. So I was reading a lot of people saying July Miscat, it's time. You need to wrap it up. And a lot of people felt like July was the longest month, and obviously it's my birthday month, so I was not.
It was, damn it.
You're the only person that had, shares my sentiments that July was not enough, man. But I mean, to all of those people who had problems with July,
yeah, no. Oh no, nobody phrase I'm
I
ask you.
don't think
okay.
it's because of July and I think it just had a lot of things.
There's a lot.
So it felt like it was long, but it was
on
just
a lot of fronts,
overwhelming.
On a lot of fronts, no, July was just Julying.
Yeah, July was Julying.
I think we need 5 shows to cover everything that happened in July. We would never be able to cover it in one show.
Nah. And at least there was one where at least I had my rent. That's how I got through July. The weekend you guys, the week that you guys were not here, and I was all by myself. So I was like, yes. I was supposed to feel all disgruntled. My team is not here, but I was like, yes, I'm gonna rent.
I watched that. I actually enjoyed it. I really did. I think we must leave you alone for every once in a while.
No excuses.
So that he can have some of his tantrums,
Yeah.
In fact, Billy, you have exhausted your leave days for the remainder of 2025.
I agree, guys. I do not intend on leaving you for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Climbed for future.
The rest of the year.
Yo, man. Well, it's been a crazy one. By the way, Bills, you were not here. We've decided to go Queen. Zen.
We've decided to go Zen.
We got rid of the orange because it was screaming, and we decided
we're rebranding ourselves.
Come
and collect it.
I love it. As a brand new 40-year-old, that's the theme, man. Zen, everything peaceful. Yeah. I like that.
Life begins at 40.
So they say. So they
say.
Yeah. How was your?
I'm still waiting.
So how was your hangover as an adult?
The weirdest thing, I cannot take drinks like I used to. So I was dry for the whole of July.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, probably had a drink, I think, once this month, the whole month of July. So,
great.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what 40 has in store. I don't know.
Yeah. That's good, man. And I like the fact that like you went home for it. I mean, like you were at
Oh
home.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
That
There's no
was that
bigger
was
blessing than
refreshing.
that.
That
There's
was
no
so
bigger.
refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, it's time for us to get down to business. It's been crazy. It's
Yes.
been, I think, as we said, Bill's like this one speaks to you largely, because obviously we have the what do they call the G20 presidency,
Yes.
and we are supposed to pass on the baton to the United States of America. And Trump came out. It's like, no, guys, there's no way I'm going to the
Come
country that is still abusing people. In fact, I'm going to impose 30% tariff. South Africa,
on.
there you go.
No.
So I guess it ties in with you as South Africa braces. I think it's about 2 days, ne? They start kicking in on Thursday.
On Thursday, yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and we see our ministers running like crazy. They're trying to find out, trying to find means from Pakstau to Lamola to um, the president himself,
Mm-hmm.
because he's been trying to do a little bit of PR and some like, yeah, guys, we need to diversify and look at, countries that are willing to, that we can
Sure.
export to, you know. But I think listening to a lot of commentators, it's not going to be as easy as said. I mean, like for an
Not at
example,
all.
yeah. So I don't know whether you want to speak on that, Bills, but like,
Yeah,
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 we have
yeah.
ourselves for the 30% hike.
Sure. Listen, I feel like, when I look at this thing, I feel like I always say, I feel like we're trapped in the battle of the East and the West, and we're right in the middle, right?
Mm,
Because with everything that is happening, I see the calls for a crisis committee, and I'm not completely opposed to that. But I
mm,
feel like we live in a very knee jerk approach type of administration. We're very reactive
mm,
as an administration. There's, I mean, so many commissions and committees and that have been formed in this administration more than any other administration, right? And I
mm,
think for me, it goes back to one thing. As an entrepreneur, we always talk about strategy. We need to go back to how we negotiate these deals, right? We need to
mm,
go back, and I'll tell you why, right? I mean, nobody could have anticipated what Donald Trump did, right? Nobody could have anticipated. He came out of the blue, out of nowhere, and this is where we find ourselves, right? So nobody could
mm,
have anticipated that. But for me, it goes back to the fact that who is dominating in our economy? Uh, you know, the minute you open up markets, and I'm going to go into the automobiles market, the vehicle market, right?
yeah.
We opened that up, right? And we opened it up for competition, obviously. Dog eat dog. And we know what happens during that whole fight. Somebody
Mm,
loses. They lose share. And what we find now is that we have all these Chinese vehicles on the road, right?
mm,
And for me, I find that there is a missed opportunity when we negotiated those deals, right? We missed an opportunity to say opening up this competition and opening up this market will drive away the Europeans, will drive away the Americans, will drive away everyone, right? Because
mm,
you're coming in nice and cheap. But we need to balance your value proposition needs to balance us creating jobs here and still being able to leverage on your cheap labor because that's what China's the Chinese market is based. I mean, is basis on. It's based on the cheap labor that they have, and that's why they're able to
yeah.
afford the middle class, comfortable vehicles that they would not be able to afford had they come from the Europeans. So it's a
Mm,
long-winded thing, but for me, I feel like we need to go back to the basics, right? When we negotiate deals, what is our strategy when we open up our borders to market entrants to come into our country? What are our imperatives? What are our hard no's, right? If
mm,
you are going to go and disrupt a market within our country, you need to understand that that disruption comes with job losses because you're displacing an existing competitive landscape, right? You're disrupting that. So you need to have a plan to supplement that.
Hmm.
So, for me, at the height, I mean, these trade tariffs will affect a lot of industries. Primary
Hmm.
industries, they were smart enough to exclude some of the minerals, but, agriculture, textiles, and all these industries are going to get affected. And for me, if we are already based on those, because these are additional industries, not talking about the automotive market, which will take a huge,
Huge
huge bump,
knock. Hmm.
from this. I feel like also I need to say this that the Chinese markets provided relief to the so-called middle class, right? People like myself who could not afford SUVs because, the other guys, were selling them at an arm and a leg, are now driving SUVs. But
Yeah.
that relief comes at a price because who is going to carry the burden of these tariffs? This very
Hmm.
same middle class. It's
Hmm.
it's it's a conundrum. It's something that we can't talk about and finish today. But that's my thing. I think we are very reactive, and sometimes when you join social media and you want to be an influencer, I always say you need to have a psychologist. You need to have a tops on the side. When the knocks come,
Yeah.
you can debrief. I feel like we as South Africa have taken on the position of being the spokesperson of the continent and the gateway to the continent. But
Hmm.
we have not thought of what the backlash would be from the powers that be. And that is some of some of we're suffering from some of those consequences. Stand to be
Yeah.
debated, yeah. But that's my 2 cents on this one, Slyso.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think Wonge Umdu is just running around and trying to see what, how can we be saved from it. And the fact that, s- people are calling for the South African president, obviously, which they did, that the export support group, which will basically look at alleviating. I don't know how the alleviation is going to come about, because the terrorists are hitting right across. It's not like you can go back and negotiate for one industry. And a very interesting catching on the news as well was the fact that somebody was saying, like one of the commentators, and in fact, it comes from what Ulamola said in
Mhm.
Dokbana, like they have to reset the negotiations with the United States of America. And because there are people and role players that are actually sabotaging South Africa, or sabotaged South Africa. And I think it goes back to where this whole thing started with the Trump administration saying that there are very, very concerning, scary stuff happening in South Africa. And to think that one of those industries is farming, the avocados that we need to get out, the grapes that we need to get out. And it's very crazy because it was an Afrikaner group, and the people who play a lot and who stand to
That's
lose
it.
more. Yes, we're going to lose jobs, but the people who stand to lose more are the South African farmers, because now when they sell to the United States, the Americans are going to say no, but the produce from South Africa because of the tariffs. And that's another thing I think people don't get. They think that like we being hit, it's actually going to be pricier for the American citizen to buy produce from South Africa. You know,
Yep.
then they're going to start looking elsewhere. So, which means that industries are going to close down. There's all that produce that's gonna sit out there. And to think that this was yaqalwa Baeza's Hub,
Ish.
it's a very crazy one and a very interesting one. And I think Milba,
It, it, it's sad that they're not the only ones who are going to feel the pinch.
mm,
Yes.
But I'm glad they
yeah.
are taking most of the pinch. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
The
very
sad part
interesting.
is that it's going to go back to already what you're talking about, Slash. So the issue of some people having to be laid off because of the pinch that they're going to be taking in
Mm,
those. then again, we are back to square one as far as the unemployment rate is concerned.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Temporal myopia. That's what it's called.
Oh,
Sure.
this is why we got people that go to school, yeah? I'm sure Sunday funda kule veki.
They've prioritized immediate benefits and neglected the future. And that's
The
exactly
future.
what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. I like that. I do the same thing actually. I have a lot of words I wrote down because the other night I was going on.
Like,
There's this other guy I discovered.
all right,
Um,
all
and this guy
right.
broke it down so nicely that I was like, you know what? And it's just that I did not understand that there is a concept called this.
This,
So
Yes,
now
yeah.
yes,
I'm gonna use this English word to excuse my being not smart.
yes. Exposure. You see things
Exposure,
that people that
Yeah.
know.
Moving right along, guys. There's another very interesting one that has been coming from the Eastern Cape. We're trying to go through as much as possible, as soon as the bullying in schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we come from a story from Tanzania. So a scholar transport operator has been suspended by the Department of Transport in the Eastern Cape after a bullying incident occurred in the bus he used to ferry learners. The incident relates to a video where an 18-year-old learner from David Mama Senior Secondary School in Tanzania is seen being assaulted by a fellow pupil. That video was doing rounds, for the longest time ever. And the education MEC Fundile Kade is expected to visit the school and provide, the provincial transport spokesperson as well. Unati Pinose has weighed in on it. But the outcry, one thing that I've picked up is that like the incident has happened. I don't know whether you guys saw it, but the outcry is that why are you suspending the scholar transport driver when this incident did not take place inside the bus? As you can see on the video, it is after they were dropped off. Yeah, so it's a very interesting one for me, and I don't even know what the take is. There's bullying concerned, and there have also been reports of the principal herself being assaulted by the students at this particular school. So that's a big one. And
Sure.
bullying, this goes once again to prove that in 2025, bullying is still a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know whether Toto, yeah, this one.
I think I saw just a glimpse of this discussion around this incident. I didn't see particularly the original clip, Slyso. But I
Mm,
think again I want to go back to what Tupil is talking about. Our government being very
reactive.
reactive, because this is not the first incident of bullying that is
Yeah.
happening in a school setup. I mean, we've had incidents where due to bullying, a student will end up committing suicide. Earlier this year, I think there was an incident of girls who were bullying another girl, and again I don't know where that ended up. So I don't
Mm,
think the schools actually have a policy in place. I don't think that basic education, the Department of Basic Education has a policy in place to kind of like mitigate and deal with bullying in schools. I definitely also don't think that they have long-term interventions. I feel like they just put a bandage on the issue, of course, to try and seem like they are doing something. They will respond like now in Richard Taibana, they just suspend somebody without actually looking at, because you need to look at the role players and
mm,
who was involved. You can't just suspend people. So for me, it's just they do respond for the sake of responding so that people can shut up and not talk about this, but they don't actually go back on the drawing board and look at what are the long-term interventions that we need to put in place
mm,
in schools. I
mm.
mean, we're talking about bullying is not just an emotional kind of thing. If there is also violence, there's also aspects of violence that we're seeing here. We're picking up,
Yes.
right? That's a serious concern, I think, for many of our schools in the Eastern Cape, where learners are becoming more and more violent, so that means schools
Violent.
actually have appropriate interventions to actually deal with you know, violence in schools,
Hmm.
protecting teachers, protecting learners, have policies in place that are representative of both the stakeholders, learners, and of course get the parents involved here. So I think until they do something that is much more in depth and is not just a knee jerk reaction, we will continue to see these kind of interventions. I mean, I get also very astonished to hear Obana. There's social workers that are unemployed, and yet you have schools that have social issues that are going on. Then my question is, why is it that the Department of Basic Education cannot absorb the social workers in schools, so that they can deal with the burden of the social issues that the learners are dealing with, which the teachers don't have time to deal with because they're teaching in class. So I think there's so many things that are going on in the school environment, and I don't think there are systems in place, to really deal with them. We have children that are coming from, backgrounds where there are issues going on, and so of course, as Kolweni, it becomes a place where they let out their frustrations, and I'm
Hmm.
not condoning violence here, but I'm just trying to paint a picture that sometimes children are under pressure from where they're coming from. They come to school, it's a place where they can just let out, their anger, their frustration. So
Hmm.
imagine if you had a social worker that can actually assist that child there in that
Yeah.
environment. Then the teacher doesn't have to deal with that. Then the driver, where transport doesn't have to deal with that. And then, of course, again, parents must assist the school because you cannot expect isikolo uba siqeqeshe umntana oyindlavini. We can't. We need to also just call out parents to do their role, to do their part. They must
Hmm.
assist. They must assist the government. Bamaqeqeshwe abantwana, so that they understand that when they are being sent to school, they are being sent kwabanye abantu abadala kwi-environment where they need to coexist with others,
Exist.
in a harmonious way. So
Yeah.
parents, teachers, learners, department, I think there's no integrated intervention. It's just kind of like, okay, this is our mobilize the social workers for abantwana ababhunyishiweyo one day, and then that's it. Okay, this is our dismiss at this one. That's it. For me, that is a problematic way of responding.
Hmm. Yeah, very interesting. And we've got a comment all the way from the United Kingdom, from Onwabisa. Utkenage, oh, I saw the video circulating on social media. It broke my heart, but I love the response. Was very quick to reach out to the girl. Remember,
Yeah.
Bandabafana knows in Kwaimani, the
Yeah.
principal apparently used his own, I think, vehicle and money to
Mm.
make sure that Umdana gets the medical, psychological assistance as far as that is concerned. So I hope she heals from it with
Yeah.
all the support and she gets all the support
Mm.
that she actually needs. And she goes on to say those bullies should be expelled from the school, depending what's their school policy around such behavior, especially still in uniform, as it were. This reminds me, and part of the reason I'm reading this particular one, ukhula kwethu, you could not do anything unxibe uniform
Uniform.
Uniform.
Yeah.
yesikolo. That's how much you respected it.
Yeah.
I remember Enzondi, like Ezwelicha. Kwakubakho izanto zazikweza stage higher primary sento yobana kuzawuvalwa ngobani bani. Now there was this guy from a KZN wakwaDlamini. Is fairly new at the school, but he always, every time kuvalwe izikolo, he would always pick a fight with me. Hey, Salisu, so dibana ngakwanto like a store, like on the ditch or things. And I would beat this guy, sinxibe i-uniform, but even nale nto siyoyenzela, ngaphayana, because it was a thing, there weren't all of these rules and all of these policies. It had to be you for yourself.
After
Ndingombe le
school is after
defeat,
school.
yeah, ndingombe, because apho ubonwe khona unxibe i-uniform yasenzondelelo and you busy wenza izinto eziphuma ecaleni,
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Mfikile is going to deal with you.
Yeah.
So there was also that aspect, and also speaking to policies. they should be expelled depending on the policy of the school. The policy should not make provision for kids that are misbehaving.
Yeah, yeah,
It should be that simple. And I think EFF said something about this. I think I have it somewhere here. Yeah. That bona abanaxesha lale diplomacy idlalwa
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
department. I don't know whether you guys saw that.
Mm,
Saying that
mm.
this for expulsion, enye nenye mayixoxwe kule nto ka- this whole thing, yeah, intervention and all of that, which is what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah,
Yes.
of being reactive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't put a band-aid in an issue like this because it's bound to come up. That's why we're seeing it, coming up again and again. Because remember also, abantwana bafunda ngobona mos, if it happens in
Yes.
another school and nothing happens, so then a message is sent because remember we live in social media at times
Sure.
now. So
Yeah.
these kids they see also what happens with a scholar when someone bullies omnye umntana. Oh, hold on, there's nothing going on. Akonto enzekayo.
Yes.
Bazawungcoliswa njengomso bayabuya.
Bayaphinda bayabuyela bukhona. The
Yes.
consequences are there now.
There's
Unwabisa
no
ndimazi kuhlelele mna. I remember back in the day, you won't even be sent to the store to buy beer unxibe uniform.
no.
True.
Yeah, but she's
Real.
she's
Real.
picking on me on this one.
Mm.
Wawusilo kanti esikolweni. Well, I grew up during a time where it was
You
fight.
had to
You
stand
know,
up for yourself.
you had to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
You had
Yeah.
to
Noba uyabuya uyoxela endlini kuthiwa out.
go back.
And I
Ambozilwela.
don't know
But
whether
times have
it's
changed.
That's the funniest
know-
thing because ekhaya ndandibethwa if ndibuye kusithiwa bendilwile but ndizaphinda ndibethwe uba ndibuya ndikhala ndithi ndibethiwe.
Ubethiwe. All right.
So
That is very
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
very,
just on what Utoto said, I'm glad you said the parents at the end and you made
Yes.
emphasis on that
Yeah.
because I think again we are being reactionary, right?
Yes.
There's this
Yes.
whole thing in South Africa. GBV needed to at least hit a certain quota before everyone stood up, right?
Mm.
We understand the psychological
something is
aspects,
compromising
right?
Bills there.
Yeah.
Can
I
you
can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you
Bills.
hear me now, Slyso? I think
I think
Slyso
something
is.
is compromising us as far as network is concerned.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's from your side. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's from your
That's from
side.
my
Slyso.
side.
Yeah, there was
Is
a
it?
delay from you. That's right.
Yeah, I'm like, good thing le 40-year-old inkonga nje ukuthi bisithi bisela umqombothi wodwa.
Wow. So, yeah, man, I really feel like, I mean, how did we get to where we are with HIV and AIDS?
Yes.
Awareness.
Hmm.
Awareness and it was not a responsibility of a hospital
No.
or a nurse. It
Yes.
was the responsibility of the entire community because we are all aware of the things, the societal pressures, and all these things that our kids are going through.
Yes.
And when someone says your child is a bully or your child is doing this thing, it shouldn't be a surprise, and
No.
we shouldn't
Yeah.
jump at the defense or at the punitive stuff.
Mm-mm.
No, right? I think we need to rally up as a community and just raise awareness that we have a problem before it reaches pandemic proportions. Let's deal
Yes.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm just afraid for time. But we obviously will leave this particular story. We're gonna head over to the motivational moment for the day. There is that story that we ought to cover. Sagwa SARS. Do you owe SARS or SARS owes you money? That's the big question.
I don't think
Are
they
you
owe me
okay?
money. I think they owe me money. I think SARS owe me money.
Hopefully, girl.
Let's go to the Momo. Let's just go to the Momo.
Guys, we're gonna come back. We're gonna afford you that story. Thank you very much to iol.co.za because that's where we picked up the guide from. And a lot of us like usually get lost when it comes to things like your taxes,
Yeah.
because there's due to and then there's due by. And I remember people used to be like yeah, due to. Ulindele ntoni? Ulindele due to okanye due by. Let's head over to the Momo, ladies and gents.
Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. It can also be a developmental crisis issue. Keep pushing and stay the course. Boom, 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 boom. If you keep pushing and stay the course, guys, keep pushing, man. Life is just, telling us fuba. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Momo Motivational Moment with your girl, Chops, the psychologist. It is Women's Month, and we're going to be celebrating, the amazing things that are being done and achieved by, amazing women in South Africa. And of course, that's the mandate of the Women's Month, but at the same time, also looking at, all the issues that are being faced by women in all areas of their lives. But I must be honest, guys, I'm not in a very celebratory kind of space this Women's Month because there's just a lot of things in my mind going on as far as women are concerned. So today I wanted to just talk a little bit about the role that mothers or women play in, protecting children. And this is triggered by this growing trend in Bonayo, where women are the ones who are perpetrating violence when it comes to children. Women who are supposed to be the protectors, the carers, who are supposed to be a safe space for children, are the ones who actually are colluding with abusers, pedophiles that are sexually molesting children. They are the ones who are actually involved in, trafficking zabantwana. We see these stories of abantwana being killed by their mothers. Recently, there's just been so many parents abasakot, because umdana was killed, umdana was raped, and. So I think just to kick off the Women's Month, I really want to call upon mothers. I want to call upon women, who consider themselves to be mothers, who are aunts, who are stepmothers, who are responsible for children, who are guardians, to really remember their role, in making sure that they safeguard the well-being of children. I've said this before, and I want to say it again that akekho umntana who deserves to be violated, umntana who deserves to be abused and neglected. Every child deserves to grow up in a healthy environment, in a happy environment, so that they can be themselves and express themselves, in a safe environment, so that they can feel protected, they can be able to reach their full potential, they can be able to just express, their emotions when they're sad and they're happy. Children need to have a safe space. And it's very disturbing for me to note that the people who are supposed to be a safe space for children are becoming now, the allies of the abusers, the allies of criminals. They are the ones who actually, they are the ones who are violating abantwana. It's a disturbing observation. It's very disturbing for me to note this because then I wonder, what is going to happen to these children, because eventually uzawubanjwa lo mama, this parent is going to, go to jail. And therefore the mntana funeka hamba ye foster care, la mntana funeka hamba yohlala ne-extended family members. So that child is losing, is losing a relationship with the person that they're supposed to have a relationship with, their primary caregiver, their parent. And of course, I know that not all mothers are like that, not all women are like that, but there's just this growing, and I'm saying growing trend. It's concerning, and I think we need to address it in Gogo Isakala, saying I pray, because I think we have a tendency in South Africa of being so numb, and we start to kind of like just normalize, but oh, okay, that's another story. Oh, iyenzeka. That's what they do. Benza ezinto. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling, and so I'm calling upon fellow women. I'm calling upon fellow mothers. I'm calling upon, just Amanina. We cannot allow for children to be abused. We cannot be the ones, who are supposed to be protectors, Sibe City, who put children at harm's way. With the growing statistics of gender-based violence, against women and children, we cannot have women being perpetrators. It just, for me, it just goes against, everything that the women who worked, hard before us, the older generation, that fought for our rights to exist, to be able to enjoy the freedom that we are enjoying. It seems like it's in vain, because we are now, threatening the future of these beautiful young women who are supposed to enjoy growing up in, a much safer environment. So that's my message today. I really want to call upon women to say, Masibambisaneni, let's call each other out. It's very important. We can't be normalizing abantwana being pimped by abazali, women pimping children for sex, selling abantwana for, for for sexual gratification of men, and because they just want to get, some cash, some quick buck. We need to call, and we need to hold women accountable this month. We need to call upon women, who are women of honor, to stand for children, to protect children. We need to call upon the authorities to not just take these cases lightly because it's women. I think we must not the gender to normalize izinto ezingekho normal. We can't do that. It can't be just because a woman is the one that, and then sifuna justify the action. Sifuna ujonga uba, no, what made her do this? No, it's not okay. It's not acceptable. And I'm calling upon onke amanina, play your role. Remember, your natural role, that is to be a safe space for everyone, especially abantwana, to be the protectors, zabantwana. Abantwana babalekela komama because they know that they will get embraced, they will get protected, and they will get loved. And so we don't want to see this trend of violence by women. And that's my story. I'm sticking to that today.
Sticking to it.
Yeah.
That was a heavy one.
Yeah. Over to Mama, right at the beginning of Women's Month.
Yeah. I kept looking at, thinking about how much trust, faith, everything I put to my mom, right? And I look at little kids who don't know anything. The first person they run to when they perceive danger in any kingdom, animals, everyone, they run to the mom. And if they are to be the perpetrators of violence,
we are in trouble. You understand? We are in trouble if the statistics is saying that majority of abuse and rape and violence is perpetrated by men, but we are now seeing this unusual trend now of women, then it's concerning for me. We can't have, and I don't want it to get to a point where it's a pandemic, because one or two cases for me is enough, and it's just becoming more and more of as the cases. Umntana ubulewe, stepmother, umntana ubulewe, uthengiswe ngumama. I mean, these are not normal. These are not normal.
Mm, yes.
This is not something that we should be quiet
Yeah.
about.
A very interesting one, because for me it speaks to a number of issues as I listen to it.
Yeah,
When you're gonna have people who birthed these children end up abandoning them,
yeah,
because this is another form of abandonment.
yeah,
You are as good as someone or she umdana outside a toilet, a bus stop, or
yeah.
ubana ngane nguMoses lo wayeshiywe elantikeni wena mzalwane ndingekonyuki ndikhumbuzeni.
Wafaka kwibasket. Wafaka kwibasket.
Wafakwa kwibasket. We have a lot of that, and
Yes.
Toto, we look at things like something that I picked up in Dokbana, South Africa, you have well over 60, almost going into the 70s, 70% of South African households. They live on no more than 1,500 rands
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
month. That's the
Yeah.
money that your household, my household, a greater majority of South Africans is going to see ngenyanga. So you go back to Indoye grants, you go back to people who have kids, bengafuni, but
Mm,
so which means that poverty.
Yeah.
I'm not excusing
Yeah.
I'm not excusing ezinto zenziwa ngabantu, but
Yeah.
zezinye zezinto endiqondayo into yobana like kumele nathi sizakhele umkhanyo sibuze into yobana inoba konakele phi, because
Yeah.
you have a child just because you're going to get a grant, and that is it. You don't care for that kid. If
Yeah.
uthemba uyafika uthi jonga, ndiza kususa apha emotherwell sayohlala ewoma uzaba kufutshane, blah blah blah, and all of that, you abandon those kids. Either you leave them nomakhulu okanye like whatever. If uhamba nawe, which goes back to a topic that we were talking about last week, of blended families, and when people go in relationships as
Yeah.
abandoning them with his siblings that are going to make to have that child abe yi-victim, you know
Yeah.
kula
Yeah.
mother wena umshiye kuyo wena, you living the life elantikeni ewoma. So
Yeah.
poverty is one of those things that
yeah.
have women so desperate that they would give up their own, or they would
Yeah.
abandon their own. So for
Yeah.
me, it's those two things: people who have kids
Yeah.
with no plan at
No
all,
plan. No plan.
you know kuphinde ibe indaba yase South Africa of ilento, the poverty in South Africa.
And let's be honest, guys. Grant, there's no way. There is no way that you're gonna raise umdana get grant. It's not.
But you
You
know what the
know.
thing is, Toto, is yesterday you did not have 10 rents to your name, right? And 9 months from here, you will have a constant inflow of 350 rands a month.
Yeah.
That's the conversation. It doesn't extend to whether I can raise this child on this 350, or what profit am I making from it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then what is most concerning is when we see the partnering, that's the other part that is disturbing me. When we see, like women again who are supposed to be the ones that are marching and saying, let's protect women, let's protect children, are the ones who are going to now partner with the criminals. As gangsters, as rapists, I mean, you just wonder, no matter what is going on here,
Hmm.
what exactly do we need to do? But I think, like you say, it's like, so we need to look at it. I mean, of course, I'm just touching on the surface level of the issue here, I'm bringing it forward, but we need to address it. Something is going on because it's not normal. Something is
Yeah.
definitely going
It's
on
very no, it's under, yeah.
far as women are concerned. And like you say, there's something going on here that is putting women under pressure such that they are so desperate. They do all these things as in right. And of course, we are not excusing it. But we're just saying, but let's look into this before it becomes another pandemic.
Pandemic.
Yeah. Ladies and gents, that's her story, and she's sticking to it. And by the way, there you have it right here. Singanatobeka@gmail.com. You can also call her for a private session. It doesn't matter what you are going through as far as your mental stability, psychological state is concerned. She has a private practice as well. 073-421-3360. That's how you can reach her. Lo Ula.
The queen.
The queen in the building. And very interestingly, we have I'm gonna keep them
Queen
a
T.
surprise. We have some very interesting women that we are going to be bringing on the podcast. One, I'm really hoping that we really get to speak to her because she is doing amazingly well. The only clue I'm going to I don't know whether I should give
Give
a
us a
clue.
clue.
Okay, the two. One is very outspoken, a patriot in South Africa. Yeah, Limpondokazi. The other one,
Sikimazwai.
no, no, ngumamiya, ngoGcwanile,
Okay.
olwanika
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes.
Mazwai.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
So wrong. And the second one is a lady who, in her position, has um, she has responded to a cry by a particular social group, a civic group in Gauteng, who's been at the forefront of a group that's been at the forefront of cleaning South Africa to an extent. Getting rid of elements that are not necessary or in the country illegally. I'm just giving out clues. But
Ah.
she does this. Billy, you should know who this
Does
person
my
is.
face show that I'm so competitive? It's like I'm gonna win something. My mind is going. Ah.
Yeah. Well, the only clue I'm going to give, I don't need, if you know the answer, just keep it to yourself. She is
Okay.
a first citizen of one of the cities or metros in South Africa. I'm crossing fingers that I actually have
I
that.
got
Really,
you.
once again, I say that you should know who that's it.
I got you.
You lost the
I
command.
got
But I lost the man
you.
when I quit.
You lost the command. But you know
I
why?
got you.
Well, when we
Why?
have our next pre-production, you will definitely know. But for now, I think it's time for us to go over to Bills. We'll get rid because of time. We'll get rid of all the other stories, but we will
Sure.
retain the story of do you owe SARS or does SARS owe you? But we will do this one after we've had the Bees rap with Billy Bukeko, the 40-year-old.
Hello, 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 my people, and welcome to the Biz Rap with myself, Billy Bukako. Today, I know I've been away, and unfortunately, I have not been doing anything that is going to contribute to today, but I hope you have been in my absence. Right, we've just had the G20 ministerial meeting, right? And a part of that was a pavilion, which is an exhibition for entrepreneurs. And it took me to the time where I would go with entrepreneurs to exhibitions, to expos, and they would have to make networks and create relationships. And I thought today it was worthwhile, for us to talk about how to create and how to build relationships that last, right? I thought of a time where I've seen people leave these pavilions after having spent, a lot of money traveling to these countries, and they come back home with about 50 business cards if they're lucky, and they don't know what to do with that. So I thought let's talk a little bit about that, right? How do you build lasting and valuable relationships and networks as an entrepreneur? And understanding that, we talked about the issue of soon, we hope not, ailing economy. That will mean, things might get tough here and there. And as an entrepreneur, going forward, we also need to understand why and how important is it for you to be fully embedded in your ecosystem so that you rely in the stakeholders and the people around you that can assist you. So let's talk about how you can build those relationships. So the first thing I said when I look at relationships, for me, relationships are like a garden, right? You are the gardener and the relationships are the garden. The fruit at the end of the day is you getting what you want out of this relationship. Remember, we don't go out and say we're going to partner with whoever. We are going to network with whoever. There is something that we want from that person, and that person is there because he wants something from you. So it's always a to and fro. It's an iterative relationship, right? It's not always one way. So I thought of it as a garden, right? And I thought to frame, because we build relationships in different contexts. We build relationships just to randomly by meeting people. Sometimes we go out to people to seek relationships, but sometimes, and as I thought about the G20 ministerial meeting and the upcoming summit, where entrepreneurs will have a chance to showcase their work. Let's talk of it from an expo or exhibition or trade mission perspective, right? So the first thing you do when you build any relationship, you need to plant the seed, right? Plant the seed. This means I meet this person, I have researched who they are, right? That is your soil prep, how you prep your soil before you even plant the seed. You do the research, who is going to be there. If it's an exhibition, you've got a list of everyone who's going to be there. You target, you do the planning upfront. That's your soil prep, right? Who am I going to target? What am I going to get from them? What is it that I can offer them, right? You have those people, you look at everyone that you're going to be there. You get there, you have a no more than a minute um, speech or intro to that person at your store, right? This is you planting the seed. But also you want to show this person, this person that you are interested and you've got something to offer. Having looked at what they most likely going to look for, you need to also present what you do within that light. That we collect so much information, blah blah blah, that could generate this and this and this and this, and you're not offering it to them, but you put it out there. You are planting the seed, and you're saying to this person, "I've got something you want, and definitely you have something that I want." Right? Once you've planted the seed, you go your separate ways. You've got the business plans. You've got everything. Now you need to start working on this relationship. Now remember, seeds don't grow overnight. The relationship needs to be nurtured before it gives you anything. Before you can get anything from this person, you need to nurture that relationship. So you need to have a plan, right? Anybody who's in agriculture will tell you there is a crop maintenance plan or a weeding plan. Because as you go and you service these relationships, looking after them, sending a hello there, at this there, you then get to see which ones are going to yield a positive something out at the end, or which ones you need to weed out, right? So this is the plan that you have. Also within that plan, you have horizons, right? You need to look at of all these relationships, which ones can I tackle and easy? Which ones are low hanging fruit is the word I'm looking for, right? Start with those, get those out of the way. Look at the ones where there's, potential synergies again as your next horizon. And the ones that are most likely you think that is going to be so hard, don't discard them. Put them there and say, I want to get there. And I'll get to how you will get there in just a bit, right? And so after you've maintained these relationships and nurturing relationships is literally just not, I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to know that I'm here. When there's an event, you look those companies up and you make sure that you are there, you register as an attendant. You are there, you participate, you sell yourself to say, I am here and I need something from you. You don't always have to be obvious. There's a way that you can sell yourself just by being present. You have nurtured a relationship, and maybe at the end you come out with something, which is harvest. You either come up, if you are looking for money, you get the money. If you're looking for manufacturing space or whatever, you get that. And that's what we call harvest. But it does not end there, because if you repeat the cycle over and over and again, there is a process of pollination and expansion starts to happen. Now the bee does its work. Everyone starts to know what you do, how important you are to the ecosystem, or how the current company has benefited from what you have to offer, and they keep on referring you to other people. And this is where your reputation and your influence grows, because if you've managed one or two relationships properly, those people are most likely to talk about you. Now, I don't want you to look at this as just another pep talk, because most of the guys that are in business, and you may look at something that you think like, why my innovation is better than this, my business model is better than this, but this guy keeps getting all the government support and all the private sector funding. It's because they have mastered this skill, how to build lasting relationships. With that being said, I want you to start tonight. Start thinking about who, it could be anywhere in the world. Where would you like to work? Who would you like to work with? Who would you like to buy a product, or who would you like to collaborate with? And start working on how to build those relationships. Thank you so much. And back to you guys. Ah, there you are.
His story, and he's sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it.
Yeah,
Wow.
man, very interesting. The garden analogy makes a lot
Mm.
of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting, and I think I picked up very important for people. You have this idea, you have all of these things in place, but there's just this one thing missing. But if you follow what you've just shared with us now, you sort of like, even listening to Billy, you picking up where you are lacking,
Yeah.
and I remember something that I actually learned not so long ago. When you meet people, and that it was through an indirect mentor, who said that, listen, when you have a moment with somebody, it's called an elevator pitch. Don't go
Yeah.
out, "Bana unjani, hayi nami ndiyaphila, yazi bona nje,
Shoot.
beqale." Shoot straight, say your piece, because this person doesn't have time. And I think Sisnosipo Tamasan was one of those people as well, who through her programs is very big on that. These people don't have time. Get in there, tell
Yeah.
yourself, but I need to sell this cup, you know, in as little time as possible. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose this person. And next time you have an opportunity to meet them, it's like, ah, ah,
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a two-way street, y'all.
So what I like about Tupili always just leaves us with nuggets just to go and reflect on,
All right.
you know. Yeah, man. I actually was having this conversation really with my fellow hikers when we were on our way to hike on Saturday, and I was talking about sometimes your success is not monetary, it's not on the funding or on the scholarship or the sponsor. Sometimes it's the relationships that you neglect to nurture. It's
Sure.
the people that are brought into your space, your life, that you will say, you know, and forget about Slyso, having that conversation with him and just usondela phaa kuye could be the one that has the
Yeah.
key for the next door
For
that
the
you
next one.
you
For the
know.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you actually just we are there telling love, 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 nurturing relationships. Babe.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you
Like
for that.
like 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 me, I'm hoping that me knowing you, that you will work.
What's a
Wait,
Kenny? What's a Kenny?
kwi-48 kwi-48 kwi-fourth floor ube right, you
To
know,
make 40th and then more.
Right? Well, this
very
whole thing,
important
life
that thing,
begins at 40. Hey,
very
that
important
time
that
I'll
thing.
Then
go, I'll
more. The
go.
next thing, kunjani? Yo.
Singaboni ngawe sowudensa phezu kwetafile ngoba bese hey bo
What's a
Mamela, ekuqaleni you won't believe it, nizawuthi besenza i-challenge.
right?
The next thing, hayi man, the challenge ayipheli.
no man, no, something's going on here. Oh guys.
Oh, guys.
Guys, I think it's time for us to wrap it up. We are at exactly
Yeah.
an hour, and obviously we're only doing this. Otherwise, we would end it here. But obviously, this one is of benefit to our, um, um, uh, viewers at home. Do you owe SARS or you are owed money by SARS? Now, I was saying this is a guide I was going through, one of my usual websites, and I found this to be very important during this time. A lot of people don't know Naba, kuyaziwa okanye kuyayiwa,
Mm,
as far as SARS is concerned, and they've also digitized very rapidly. In so much that there are people who still pay. If you're not a business, there's automatic what do they call it,
auto assessments.
auto assessments, and then it's up to you. If you feel you have something, you can still take that up. So a lot of this now has been taken, the burden for you to go and pay somebody 10% of whatever you're going to get from SARS, or like whatever amount they charge. Now you actually can go there, and I think it's very important for people to take the time to learn. I know that they've got videos on YouTube and other social media platforms on how to do this. So iyabaluleka kakhulu into yokubana uzifundise,
Yeah.
uzenza ezinto. Kodwa kule game ndiye ndachola into yobana, like, yeah, uzukhumbula into yobana kuthiwa ke kulo nyaka usazi uthe uza kuyibopha ibhanti to make sure into yokubana they collect more than before. If you remember with Godongwana, the whole budget debate, and saying,
Yeah.
nah, there's going to be money coming from SARS. SARS says, hey, we are tightening our collection for ourselves, for the revenue, not so much for wena hulumende. So which means ndabana abanye abantu they're wondering ndabana kuqhubeka ntoni. So I came across this very let me just yeah, right there. I think it's, yeah, it starts around about here, and I'm sure that people can follow that. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The whole process on how to determine whether ubanjwa imali ngusazi okanye ubamba imali. So you just follow those steps. I'm not gonna go through them, but they are here, so you can pause the video and obone what you are supposed to do to make sure that you get into your e-filing. These are things, people, you can do on your own. And kubantu abadala nabantwana who are able to use technology nandoni, so make
Yeah.
sure that you get them to assist you with that, as long as they don't change your banking details.
Wow.
Nezimali ezaphuma for umakhulu uzayifaka kweyakhe.
Oh no.
That was the
Yeah.
first, and I think this is the last part of it, the legal implications of not paying your debt. It is very important
Yeah.
to make sure that you do. So they say that according to SARS, it's a criminal offense to submit a return without making the necessary payment in terms of Section 234 2D. Okay, read with subsection K. Okay, yeah, uyazibonela yonke laa nto, Tax Administration Act, zonke izinto zibalulekile, that fine print Simane
Yeah.
singayijiki. It is very important. So take your time when it comes to these things. And when you need help, I think and I would suggest that you actually go to SARS or call SARS. Yes, there's a long waiting period and all of that, but rather you do that than actually go to a person who's not even a tax practitioner, who's just gonna siphon your money, you know. So I felt that one would be great for us to just get closer to the end of the show with, because in part, what I wanted us to talk about was this guy right here. I'm just gonna play the
We in SA, South Africa, Johannesburg, at the airport right now. We are on our way to see the people.
You're welcome.
Yep, Anthony Hamilton in South Africa. Are we getting rejects, Okanye? Like this guy is coming back to the country for the ninth time.
Listen, I love Anthony Hamilton, and he can come back. He can come back a million times, right?
Right?
But we are getting rejects, guys. We are getting rejects. There is all these people coming here that have never come, right? They are coming. They are coming now because they are either out of pension or this or that. Yeah, what are those ones? I've got a problem. I've got a huge issue, and I don't know if Slyso, you probably will answer this better for me. I don't know if we matured late as a market, as a music market in South Africa, where these people could not have come in their heydays when they were hot, and now they are coming. The voice is gone. Like, imagine. Come on, guys. Anthony Hamilton, this is not for you. This is for all your other colleagues from where you come from.
No,
Okay.
what I don't
HubSpot.
care. I don't care. I don't care about Hamilton ulapho kanye. Like ufuna ntoni? I don't like ndibafuni mna abantu abadala abaza eSouth Africa guys.
Who
Like
do
they
you
did
want?
come that time they were so hot and they must just accept they missed the opportunity ngoku. And besides that, like really, you know what? I feel like we have our own cream of the
Of
crop,
course,
you know,
that
from
we are
the olden days.
exporting.
Like tonight,
Yeah.
old school yethu. Can we support and go to shows the old schools? Can they just come out? And you interested, guys, in that, guys, no.
Okay.
Makenzi video ba asithumele
Geriatric clinic in South Africa. Geriatric clinic.
You know what? I brought this on purpose, because obviously that's the sentiment that's how people feel, that like these guys are coming here because they now badala, they're coming out of retirement.
abana mali
One
All
thing,
right,
bona
guys. But guys,
guys.
no,
to be
hold
fair,
on,
though, to be
guys,
fair, okay,
guys,
okay.
think about this. The United States of America is 52 South Africas and more. All right.
Yes,
So this is the United States of America artist. There's,
yes,
you know what I mean? The 52 states.
yes.
This person, Uya with South Africa is 52. They still do to date. It's just that Tina is South Africa. Whether it's your politicians, they found a way of cleaning their money by bringing these things and partnering with these people, or it is the fact that I know Yendokbana. No, it is true. A fact. Like, yeah, most of
It's
them.
an easy. Are we an easy
But
market? What is going on?
we're not an easy market. I think just besides this silly, might be factual given in those or some DJ somebody and don't do, and you know where money is
Yeah.
being through
Yes.
entertainment industry. But if you look at it, when bills, during that time, Sasibawela, Okith Sweat, and all of that, we were not really working. Some of us. But
Yeah.
now the people who are CEOs of companies that are able to sponsor, they are fans. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It started here in South Africa with Juju, no Fikile Mbalula, being friends with Itrombis, no Oskito, no Ndoni, to get them to campaign and all of that. And Fikile babemazela pha stage in Olandik. Oskido. But now, because baye bakhula nabo, you know, and
Yes,
like, okay, I
yes,
want to
yeah,
align, I want to
yeah.
landika with this person, I'll pay him to come and perform Gwilandika. So there's also that element of the fact that like when these people were out there in their prime, in South
Mm.
Africa, the concert space you could
Yeah.
count. It was
We
big
matured
concerts.
late. We matured
Yeah,
late.
it was big concerts and somebody else, and they prioritized a what do they call it, a rock band from London. But now it's a CEO or marketing executive Yago MTN is going to put in money because
And it's a black guy who, this
yeah,
music resonates to. Yeah, I get
so it
you. You've
resonates,
got a
and
valid
these
point.
yeah, so the market, because what you need is like you need people to buy these tickets, and here we are. I've never seen Keith Sweat. I would want to go watch Keith Sweat and have that moment that I missed back then. So I think that's part of the reason why Gusto Baza Sebe. But Bona
But
back in the United
But
angadabuye
States.
also,
okwezi-9, angadabuye okwezi-9. Like, no.
somebody's coming back for the ninth time, guys. It's different than the
Uh,
one
No,
for
like,
the first
no.
time at 60. My
Also,
thing
the
is though,
problem, the
it
problem that
means
I
that
have
there's
with
a
that,
market. There's a market there for
there
him,
is a market if he's coming back
There's
for
a
the ninth
market for the
time.
ninth time. For me,
Hmm.
for
it's
the
the
ninth
ones that are
time,
coming
like,
for the
how
very
much of
first time.
Hamilton?
And the
No,
vocal
Kona.
cords are already just as Nazo say are giving out. They can't do the favorite dance that you liked that they used to
Yes.
do back in the
Hmm.
day. They almost need a walking stick and they're coming here to entertain you for 2,000 rands. Come on, man.
I've
No,
got
Come on,
this one
I,
from
respect. Respect us.
Sana, andikho ready,
Mamela
andikho.
ukhulupelo Mamela ukhulupelo uthini okay uthi shame wena Billy we will pay you Tina. They are not
We are not
rejects, we
rejects,
love
we
them.
love them.
I can't wait
I
for
can't wait for
Babyface in December.
Babyface
Yes,
in
the
December.
Babyface as well coming in
Oh my
December.
god.
Next year, sifuna uDolly Partner,
No.
isixoxo.
You know what
No.
Dolly Nuseza?
No, guys. Come on.
No, guys,
No.
I think you know what. No, no, no,
But
no.
I get what Slyso was saying, right? That also in terms of disposable income, back in the day when this music was hot,
Mm.
black people didn't really have access to disposable income, money to
Yeah, yeah,
spend,
yeah.
because I mean, even if you were a graduate back then, it was a big thing. Like the whole country needed to know. Probably posted you on the newspaper, but no, neither that. But we now have a lot of black people who have access to not only
Yes,
just money or anything, but we have access to power.
yeah,
Who
Yeah.
can make these
yeah,
things happen.
yeah,
And whether Slyso it's a money laundering, what or not, we are just not here for it as South
yeah,
Africans.
yeah.
Mm.
Honestly, they missed their time. They missed, like, imagine getting like a boys to men coming to South Africa. Wait, who are these
Kuthiwa
guys?
kuthiwa
Cisco.
amazwi athile ke, kuthiwa amazwi athile
Imagine Cisco performing the thong song with all those moves now. It's probably how old
no,
now.
no, thank
Mm.
you. No,
Mm. And
thank
another
you.
and another thing that you should keep in mind when you go to Groove nowadays, it's totally different. You don't find a Sliso who actually mixes, who would give you a nice hip hop mix, that is authentically done. Now you go to a Sunday chill and you find a DJ who plays the same music that you are used to. Akhuphe enye ingoma aphinde adlale enye uBabyface, akhuphe uBabyface afake uGeorge Benson, afake
Yeah.
uKaren White, so the market, I'd like to believe, has also just shifted a bit. So you've got people that palette your R&B, slow jams,
Poetry.
abakhulu ezidlalwa
Poetry.
ngawabo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So there's also that factor, but I still stand ngalena ka K apha ezantsi. Bese ndilibele nango-Babyface into yobana uyeza.
The fact that I didn't even know, I would go to Babyface though. He's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah.
And if he didn't come now, I probably would not have afforded him, to be quite honest. So I'd definitely give him a listen. Dolly Parton, cooler fellow, you're on your own, darling.
With dolls.
Oh, yini
Yeah.
umadoli. Ngiyafika.
But a baby face, another thing is that uzakulela zonke because he's written, he has an entire
Oh
decade, two
yes. Oh
decades of
yes.
writing songs
Oh
for other
yes.
people. And
What a
there's that
treat.
brilliant show that he put out, I think, like not so long ago, where he was covering all the songs that he had written for other people, including his. So it was, I'm sure it's gonna be a treat for December. Must think
Yeah.
guys.
Cheesy. Cheesy.
To end off, I totally forgot. I'm so sorry, guys. I keep saying I'm ending off. Last week, what day was it now again? Oh, I think it was a Monday or Tuesday. Remember I was talking about Sis Nosipo launching her fifth book.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go on a lot about it. I know that we have an entire episode, second episode that we haven't played because I knew because of time we won't have time. But what I did was, well, what my phone did. Um, is this to capture that launch? She's launching her podcast. She's launching the book. She's launching the the roundtable where she coaches, especially black female managers. It was a learning experience sitting through that session. But I've got 40 seconds of trying to capture most of what happened, and I think it's yeah. Yeah, that's in a nutshell now what went down during that. So it's gonna come out in podcast format. It's gonna come back in thingy. Kangela, yeah. Sis Nosipo, nosipodamasane.com. Is a website where you can buy the book. She's got 5 of them. She's going to be a very important person that we're also going to be talking to this Women's Month. And I think with that, from me, myself, and I think it's time for
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Eva. We're going to baby face that time.
My man, now tomorrow ndingayeki.
Actually, we might be too late on the second next episode because I looked at the challenge and I was like, "There's no fucking way in hell, as old as I am, I'm gonna be at a particular age." Welcome to the 4th floor, Billy. Don't be
Yes.
doing stupid, don't be doing stupid shit like that, my brother, because I was na kaungonga. Because he wanna let you have it.
Imagine ndibizelwe i-ambulance and my medical aid has to cover that. Can't be jive.
Ubuzwa nangugqirha khona ngugqirha besenza ntoni sisihubo ukuze siphele lapha. Hayi be-challenge gqirha kodwa jini. Guys, thank you so much. It's been a beautiful
Cheers,
one
guys.
and good to have
Lovely.
everybody back in the
Lovely.
studio for this particular one. And to the viewers, thank you so much. We're still waiting for more. And obviously, thank you so much to Ukulu. Okay, Kwakunye no Nwabisa, those people who came through, because you can send us your views live and tell us what your opinions are on the things that we talk about, guys. That's how we roll. We're out of here. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so
Bo,
much.
bo, bo, bo. Yes.
What's this one?